Hey guys, now let's just run through this this horror story. Dead set horror story. So, picture this. Picture a police department, not a force, a police department got a little bit toxic. And it was that toxic and that corrupt, it's been implicated in everything from informants being murdered, cold-blooded murders, to gangland wars, to even building an entire prison unit. This is fact, this happened. They built an entire prison unit expecting they're going to need an entire prison unit for all the corruption they were about to expose. So picture this happens, and what they did, I call them they in my book. They're the faceless people who run around, they're the culture setters of the ingrained rottenness that exists in the state I'm referring to. So they build this prison unit expecting for a lot of people to need it because there's a lot of corruption afoot, clearly. But what happens is that they don't let that OPI investigation run. They come with some excuse. It was going to cause them too much embarrassment. Who knows? Maybe there was a little underhand secret squirrel, who knows? Perhaps the evidence room got raided. I don't know. But whatever the case is, they came up with some nonsense that they couldn't run the investigation unless legislation was passed, leaving the magistrates and those involved aghast. A lot of them were brought in from New South Wales from memory, interstate, and you can still find what they said, their reaction to it online. Like literally just, there's a lot of corruption and it needs, you can see it. There's no two ways about it. And they didn't eradicate it because they did not let that anti-corruption investigation run its course, leaving all those corrupt officers, government officials, possibly court employees, who knows, maybe even dock workers, they're sitting there allowed to continue on in their corrupt little ways, making money and flooding the streets with drugs. Who knows what the corruption runs, but there was a lot of corruption that didn't get exposed. That is a fact. This then led to this culture of not only a rotten culture that existed. Now you can actually see a decent officer. His name is Constable Simon Illingworth. ILLINGWORTH. You can Google the guy and you can watch his story very easily, and it is horrible. You see the exact corruption that exists. This guy got knocked out, how about this one? Service issue bullets with his name engraved in it, right? The dog with his name engraved in it, put in his letterbox, right? Right, we're going to do that, right? Yeah, all right, that's what we can do, right? Just ridiculous. So, but it happened, unfortunately, and that's the level of toxicity that not only existed, still exists, because it didn't get eradicated. So how can it not still exist? So they allow that to continue, but in that horrible, rotten culture, often outright. So corruption doesn't just come in like money and drug dealing and rubbing shoulders. Corruption also comes in abuses of power, and often they're worse, because at least the corrupt money takers, they're just not that much different to an organised criminal, in the sense they just want to make money, and that's it. They don't really want the trouble. If they can avoid the shooting peoples and all that business, they will. They're there for the dollar. They just want to sell their drugs, basically. So when you get abuses of power type of corruption, that's a whole other level, because that becomes like disgusting. Aside the person isn't motivated financially, he's obviously, or she is obviously motivated out of this hatred, this yuck. They're horrible people. They have to be. So what then happened in this police force, where they didn't allow the corruption to get removed publicly? It's no, it's all out there. You can see it. You can join the dots very easy. So that then led to this rotten, cultured police force just sitting there primed, waiting for a couple of things to happen. And just sitting there like this big festering boil of dinosaurs, rotten, just dinosaur toxic yuck people in the higher offices, just waiting for this to come along and like form a perfect storm. And what I meant by that is a couple of things. One is, sadly, I mean, no offense to anybody, is the DI, that woke era. So in comes the woke era, which allowed these abusive power scumbags that I'm referring to thrive, because there was nobody, they couldn't challenge them. There was nobody to challenge them. How are you going to challenge them? Like, you're going to get a modern day hippie to challenge Roger Rogerson? No chance. They're getting rings run around them. The best way to sum it up is it's the equivalent of a modern day sort of hippie like person doing, they just need a cuddle, and they're giving them a cuddle, and abusive power person who's pickpocketing, robbing them at the same time. Similar, that type of scenario. And this is fact. This is not like made up Hollywood. This has happened in the state of Victoria, if it is not still happening. So then there was another thing, that these scumbags were just poised, waiting for that perfect storm to come along so they could just do their damnedest to just inflict their misery on people. And that was the introduction of AI bot tech. So, this morning in my business ventures, I had to ring a couple of large companies, banks, IT companies, what have you. And I got a chatbot. And this chatbot talked to me, not much different to, a person. Hey, I am, just so you know, I'm an automated bot. They actually had to tell you, like, just so you know, I'm automated, okay? Anyhow, so as far as the law and order goes, and the scumbag segment of our society goes, what they ended up with in their arsenal was a weaponized AI that is, in effect, it confuses, it's designed to replicate the effects of schizophrenia. That is the best way to put it. It's designed to just be a little pesky, very quiet, it's you almost need to have your ear trained to hear it. Like, it took them a little bit of time for them to fine-tune their torture bot on me when I was confined in a prison cell. And they do, so if you know anything about sound, noise, so for example, you might not hear something, but if you turn running water on, all of a sudden, if there's a little quiet chatbot pattering away, now you'll hear it. So these people play these type of games. They know, I don't know, there might be like a tire noise. That then also allows the background, so that's how sound works, right? You won't hear something, but then if you get a quiet noise, you'll be able to hear it. Your ear can tune in on it. So they rely on this. So they train your brain with repetition to be able to hear it, often when nobody else can or nobody notices it. But if you combine that with people who do know it and don't say anything, well, you're getting, a pretty dangerous situation. So that then led to, literally, and none of this was about solving crimes. That's the worst part of the whole thing. None of this was about solving crimes. So, for example, when they did it to Gargasoulas, it was a well-known corrupt cop who was within arm's reach of him. And B, there was no crimes to be solved there. If anything, they were goading and messing with the meth head wannabe gangster, pretending that he was going to be an informant and making up lies. Oh, he was cooked, he was delusional, he thought he was going to be an informant on a murder. That's because that's what they would have been messing with him with. They would have been messing with him with all that type of stuff using AI bot tech. 100%. And that then led this rotten, corrupt, cultured police force to then be directly responsible with the misuse of a weaponized AI to do the heads in of people, not even in the line of duty, not even to solve crimes. Remember that part. But just to mess with people. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, Magistrate Pappas referred to it as a sport. When she goes, yeah, when she finally cracked and goes, it's the police, you know. Oh, well, I used to wear a uniform too. Like somehow thinking what was happening to me was acceptable. Like deluded. You've just used this same AI head doing bot tech. Aside, you've used it completely illegally in a prison cell. You have used it completely illegally, disgustingly, not in the line of duty, to kill innocent people. Are you kidding? And you're trying to defend that? You're trying to cover that up? You're sick in the head. Sick. So that led to this AI bot being misused through CCTV. If they really want to waste the public's money, they can combine it with council, CCTV. They can pull out all the stops under the guise of where the homicide squad, they can do whatever they want. Scotland Yard comes here to get advice. They come here to laugh at us now, but they used to come here to get advice. So you have this toxic, disgusting culture that existed like a perfect storm, and then this AI comes along and then join the dots on that. So you know AI chatbot technology has been used to do the heads in of Melbourne drug court participants. That you know is a fact. You know Gargasoulis was complaining about a corrupt police officer who was messing with him. You know they have been misusing this AI bot tech. You know they've been misusing it in prisons. Now join the dots. You've had 4 police officers lost their lives. You've had multiple people on the Burke Street. I mean, the Burke Street Mall is the second worst criminal incident in Victoria's history. Innocent lives here. Second only to the Hoddle Street Julian Knight saga. And the person responsible for it is not only still walking amongst Victorians, he's wearing a bloody uniform and a paid member of Victoria Police. Are you kidding? Are you actually kidding? To those in the higher offices of Victoria Police, to know that, but wait, I'll tell you why. Because they didn't pack it up, ladies and gentlemen. This is my point. They continued on until the Magistrate Pappases were wielding it on participants of the Melbourne Drug Court, until that got out of hand, and one of the people they were using it on there ends up lashing out and hurting innocent people, only through luck, not hurting the first responding brave police officers. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? And you want to stalk and harass me? Hey? The person is still in employment with the Victorian state government, and he is directly responsible. No ifs, buts, maybes. You want to put me in a court of law, a royal commission? I'll tell you every single dot, where, how I know, where I know, why I know, and we'll put it all up there and challenge it. Because the person who is responsible, and I mean directly responsible, not half directly, not could be directly responsible for the second worst innocent life costing crime in Victoria's history, is not only still working amongst us, He is walking amongst us as a paid government employee. And that is a fact. If you want to challenge that, I hope, challenge it. Let's go. Let's put it all out there. Let's bring the magistrate Papases, the Seleskis. Let's bring it out there, because let's put it in perspective. Julian Knight is the only person in Victoria, in Australia, in Victoria, right? I definitely know that. He's the only person in Victoria. Well, sorry, he's not the only person. He is one of the only people to be serving the term of his natural life. He is never getting released from prison. The only other people that is attached to, that sentence gets given to, are police killers. That's it. So here we have a situation where the person should be serving the term of his natural life, the rest of his life behind walls. He's not only not serving at the term of his natural life behind the walls, he is still employed by the Victorian government. Oh, Nelly, and you want to stalk our sisterhood? Hey, that Caleb, like, you better, like, keep your thumb on his head. How dare that guy? Are you kidding? And the mainstream media wanted to back them. Hey? The mainstream media got involved in, like, trying to play their little game for them. You're sick in the head, mate. What? Because Sly from the underworld, right? You know, I had a few beers with, like, Paul Dale back in the day. Come on, mate. You're sick in the head. You are deluded, sick in the damn head.